Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel for a new segment that I am calling Nikkie Chats. And this is where I'm going to talk about the things that's going on in the news. I'm not trying to be a news gossip review channel solely. I do want to talk about like different topics and things like that, but I kind of want to be a mix of different things. Like I basically want to come in here and talk about what I want to talk about. And so for this particular segment, this is going to be a Nikkie Chats, and we are going to be discussing a couple of different things in this video. The first thing being the sneak peek for the part 3 of the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion that is airing on Sunday. So I want to discuss that. And then also Monique Samuels, her interview dropped, and she was discussing some things in regards to her husband and also in regards to the things happening the things that had happened on Real Housewives of Potomac around the time in which she left. And so I wanted to discuss just that portion, not really the things going on with her husband, even though I did watch that and I did agree with a lot of the things that she said, but I wanted to kind of discuss the things pertaining to the show. So we're gonna go ahead and get into that, and I'm gonna play the audio real quick here for the trailer for the part 3 of the reunion, and then I will come back and discuss.
I think Deborah, Candace, Wendy.
Wow.
Hey, everyone's responsible.
Wow. Y'all want me to be friends with this? Like, you want me to make up with this?
Well, what did I do? Here you go again with these blanket statements.
That's how I feel.
What did
Wendy had nothing
Wendy
to do with that.
do in the physical
wasn't in
altercation when each time you see me
She wasn't in
literally
that.
dodging
Yes, she
not to get? So
wasn't- she
what
wasn't
did
right
Wendy
next
She
do?
was in the
Wendy
group,
was-
but
what
she
did
was
Wendy do?
trying
Okay,
to
I'll take
stop
Wendy
it.
out of it.
First person
I'll take Wendy out of it.
She just
On camera.
She just took it back.
Okay.
She took back that Wendy's responsible.
So no.
But somehow Candace is responsible.
Trying to start a business and it being on TMZ for there to be a brawl
Right.
is disturbing.
Yes.
Candace,
Yes.
again, please repeat this because I don't want to quote you. Why did you call her a varmint? When did that happen? Varmint.
After
Vermin.
she
Varmint.
walked,
Varmint.
after she walked up to me,
Right.
cameras were down. We were standing around. I was standing there with my champagne, dancing, and she walked up to me, came from this direction, walked over, got right in my face, and said, "Do you have something that you want to say to me?" I said, "No. Come get this vermin out of my face."
No, but you can't do that.
Yes, I
No,
can.
I mean,
yes, I
Candace,
can.
call it
You
name
cannot
calling.
tell me how to
You're
respond to someone who has
Okay,
already
well, then
threatened me
that's why she threw
being
the drink.
disrespectful to me.
Do you think you really would have swung it at her?
Yes.
I don't know what I would have done. I know that I turned around, I saw this person lunging at me. I'm not expecting you all to fight for me, okay? So I'm on my own, okay?
Okay, so I have a couple of things. The first thing is, I don't know if you all noticed this, but when Robin talks, silence. When Giselle speaks, silence. When Mia speaks, silence. When Ashley speaks, silence. Obviously, when Andy speaks, silence. When Karen speaks, silence. I'm not really gonna get into Wineka because she don't really matter, but they are given the floor. When Candace and Wendy speaks, they get spoken over, they get interrupted, and they get spoken for. And it goes to show how much respect they don't have for these women, that they don't even let them speak. They don't even value what it is that they have to say, and it's disgusting. And I want to also say really quick here that I'm not going to give a full thing here. I'm going to say most of what I really want to say after the part 3 of the reunion. I never intended to review the show at all this season, and I never intended to review all of the parts of the reunion at once. I always intended to wait till they were all over, and then I would do a brief of all 3 because it's not really given too much where they really need to be separate. But I also want to touch on Miss Mia. So Miss Mia, by your logic, from what you were saying, no, hun, you can't do it. If you're gonna say things, and that's why she threw the drink.
No,
So by your logic, Miss Ma'am, because Deborah called Eddie Happy Eddie, So since she's calling names and she's saying things, that means Eddie has the right to bust her ass. Correct? Yes or no? Is that? Because that's what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is Deborah has obtained the right to catch a fade by Eddie Osefo. And we not going to hear, you can't hit a woman, you shouldn't put your hands on her. Because by Mia's logic, because Deborah was saying things about him that were not okay, calling names, correct, saying things, mouth. Eddie Osefo has the right to put his hands on her, correct? I'ma leave that there. I'ma leave that open-ended. But that's what I heard. Y'all let me know down in the comments if that's what you heard, cause that's what I had heard. The other thing that I also want to comment on very quickly here before we get into Miss Monique is the fact that a lot of people like to say what Miss Mia said. Well, you know, if you say things, you know, you're gonna have to expect. You can't expect for people to always just respond with their words. Some people respond with their hands. If you're gonna talk the walk, you gotta be able to walk the walk. And while I do agree with that, I do think that there is context that has to be discussed when we say that. Because it depends on the context of the situation. You can't just be out here starting stuff with people and saying whatever you want to people, and then when they respond to you because you don't like what they said, now you want to throw hands. No, it doesn't work like that. Now, if it's a situation where somebody started with you and then you respond and then they say something you don't like and then you want to go ahead and throw hands, then okay, I ain't got no problems with that. But you don't get to start stuff with people and then when they finish it because you can't handle it and now you embarrassed, now you want to throw hands. My case in point is the Miami trip with Mia and Wendy Osefo, where Mia started that ish. Mia started that stuff before they even left the house to get to Bar None. I'ma see what's going on. I'ma talk to her. I'ma get to the bottom. I'ma let her know. I'ma give her a piece of my mind. Then we get to the restaurant. You talking to Peter, Mr. Bar None. I'ma handle it. I'm not gonna let her disrespect my brother like that. I'ma let her know. I'ma give her a piece of my mind and all of this other stuff. So then you go over there and you start mess with Wendy, and then when she's not here for your bullshit, then you want to throw drinks. Then when she gets upset because she had a drink thrown on her, then you want to get upset and hit her with your clutch.
That doesn't make no sense. My man.
Do y'all see where I'm going with this? You don't get to start things with people, and then when they get upset, you don't like their reaction, and then you want to throw hands. That's not how that works. So a lot of y'all can miss me with the talk shit get hit. Y'all can miss me with that. Because y'all think that y'all have the right to go out here and start things with people, and then when they check you for starting things with them, because now you feel away, now your ego is bruised, now you want to put hands on somebody. No. And that also goes for season 5. But we're gonna get into that in just a minute, because we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get into what Miss Monique had to say on her interview.
And I was ready to unleash and unload, and they didn't show half of what was done. To this day, I still recall certain things that happened that weren't shown. Like there was this one point where after the binder, the biggest memory that I have, and the thing that I hate that they didn't show, with Giselle, she was so upset and she was so quiet after lunch, like had nothing to say. When Chris came out and pretty much read her, she lost it and she just blurted out, "F you!" She like lost it, and they never showed it, but she lost it. And I was like, that pretty much summed up, you know, why I left, because they were constantly protecting the people who should have been exposed and show who they really are on and off camera. And they kept these protections for people to the extent of not even protecting, you know, my innocent children and those whole narratives that they were trying to point out. And it just got me to a point where I was just like, you know what, I don't have to deal with this. This is too much. And I decided to walk away.
Why do you think that pick and choose protection, if that's what it was there in the first place?
Well, if you're a puppet master, you're going to keep your puppets. So the ones that you can control, the ones that you can get to do what you want them to do, you're going to keep those people. But the ones who speak up like me and say, no, that's not me, I'm not doing that, I'm not saying that, we're the ones that get the hardest time because we're not doing what they want us to do. We're not creating the show that they want. We're still trying to maintain a sense of who we are.
Okay, so in regards to what Monique was saying as far as for the show and production and Giselle having, being the puppeteer that she is, I agree with all the things that Monique said, right? But I do have to call Monique out slightly because I've always said that Monique and Giselle are two sides of the same coin. Now, I am somebody that when Monique was on the show, I never really liked Monique like that, but I liked Monique for the show because I felt like she balanced Giselle out. I felt like Monique is what the show needed if we were going to have Giselle on the show. And I felt like that between them, it worked for the betterment of the show because there was an equalizing that happened. Monique messed all of that up. We're not going to get into it. But what I will say is that Monique, you, first of all, we're going to talk about the fact that you asked Ashley for a character statement. And you already know what the relationship was between Ashley and Candace. And as somebody brought out under a comment, I'm not going to post a comment or anything like that, but a comment that I left up under a video of somebody else reviewing this content, they said something along the lines of, do you really think that the judge threw the case out based on the character statement and not on the footage showing what actually happened, so on and so forth and what have you? And I'm like, well, if that's the case, then the character statement wasn't necessary. So that indicates that Monique did that to be malicious, because it's not about the character statement in of itself. It's about whom the character statement was asked from. So that in of itself shows what kind of person Monique is. On top of the fact, let us not forget that Monique Samuels wanted to be friends with the Green Eye Bandits, even though she knew, she was aware that they were plotting on her from the start, mind you, because Candace made sure that she was aware. So she walked into season 5 knowing that there was a plot against her, and still tried to be friends with the people that were plotting against her, which was part of, well, the biggest part of the reason why she put her hands on Candace in the first place. And let's be very for real here. If things had gone the way Monique thought it was going to go in her head, if Monique would have gotten the Mia treatment after she put hands on Candace, Monique would still be on that show.
The truth.
It wouldn't have been no puppeteers, and if we're gonna be controlling the narrative, I don't feel like Monique would have had that thought process if she had gotten the Mia treatment. Like, yeah, her mouth and this and that and so on and so forth, like they do now when somebody puts hands on Candace, or like they do now when somebody puts hands on Wendy. It's always their mouth, their mouth, their mouth, their mouth. You said this, you said that, you provoked me. Okay, if Monique would have gotten that treatment, like, well, you were provoked and we understand because her mouth is just horrendous, Monique would still be on that show. Let's be very clear. Monique would still be on that show. So while I do agree that these are the things that do go on the show, because we can see it, so we already know, I also still see Monique for who she is, and I'm not going to let you slide. But you look good, girl. You've always looked good. But I'm going to always be on Monique's neck because I feel like her trying to switch sides and leave being friends with Candace over something stupid to be in with the Green Eye Bandits, she effed up the show. In my personal opinion, she effed up the show. And so I'm going to always be on her ass, okay? I'm going to always be on her arse, okay?
So there.
So, but that's it. I didn't want this video to be too long. I just wanted to come in. I wanted to comment on those things. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know what y'all thought about it. Please make sure to hit that like button on your way out if you didn't hit it on your way in. And please go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. And I hope I see you all in the next one. Bye.